you to be different. It's your girl, Angie Legg, and here we give a voice to the change makers, rule breakers, and risk takers of today and help you be influential too. It is Friday, April 30th, y'all. It is the end of the month. We are almost halfway through the year, which is so crazy. And we are live, you already know, here at Downtime Studios in Bridgeport, Connecticut. I wouldn't be anywhere else on a Friday morning. So today, y'all, we are going to help you level up your personal brand. It is all about strategy. And I've got the two best chicks in media to the left and to the right of me. And to the right, to the left, you already know. It's Miss Untitled Chapter, celebrity publicist. Say hello to the people.
What's up, people? Sharon Talderskill, celebrity publicist, motivational speaker, and #1 international best-selling author of the #1 habit series for entrepreneurial success.
Y'all need to catch up. Okay. Did you hear that resume? Y'all need to catch up. And to the right of me, y'all, we haven't had a guest on this show in a minute. You've got to be somebody if you on this show is all I'm saying. And to the right, I have the beautiful Christine Gritman. She is a social media strategist focused on helping you tell your story. Y'all, she's been in Forbes. She's been HubSpot. Like, she spreads out. Christine, what is good? How are you today?
This is good. I am so excited to be here with you. I'm excited to be live with human beings.
Holla.
Like, that is a thing.
This is a big deal.
Thank you, Fauci.
Shout out to the CDC. I love it. How you feeling today? Are you ready to help the people?
I'm always ready to help people.
I love, look at her hair. So her brand is red.
It is.
Look, the hair, the cut.
I can see that.
She goes so hard. I am brand envious. And you guys already know I'm your host, Angie Legg, your personal brand bestie. And let's get it popping, y'all. Let's get it popping. So today we are going to level up your brand. And we want to give away something today.
Oh, yes.
We got a giveaway. Do you know about our giveaway? So we celebrated our 10th episode last week. So Chantel so kindly offered to do a giveaway to celebrate, which I love. So our sponsor, the 10K cards, the digital business card, has offered to give away a $100 digital business card to a lucky winner. And then the winner gets to come on the show and gets to be branded on live with me and Chantel.
Who wouldn't need that? That's amazing.
I need it. Not a good look.
Yeah, no.
Not a good look.
We do not agree.
People don't want to hear that. That was a mistake. Edit. No, and we are so excited because this is the time. Everybody's looking to brand. Everybody is trying to step their game up. And we just want to give it to the people. That's what it's all about, is being influential and getting out there and being thebomb.com. So that being said, let's get into, we do this thing called the word of the day.
That's my favorite.
So we constantly, I learned this from Toastmasters. Ever heard of Toastmasters? So you try to incorporate a word into our little session here. And the word today is jaunty.
Ooh.
Jaunty.
Jaunty.
It means having a cheerful, lively, and self-confident air. There's so much jaunty up in this space right now. Jaunty, jaunty, jaunty. I used it. I'm using it. I'm done. So we're going to try and use that word jaunty at some point throughout the show. And it just, people out there, tap in. How are you using jaunty in the show?
How are you being jaunty?
How are you being? Let's get emotional about it. So jaunty is the word of the day. Let's get into it. So y'all, what is a personal brand? I think when I'm trying to get people to understand it, that's the first thing they don't really get. What is it? They understand a business brand, but they don't. Why don't people capture what a personal brand is, which is a business brand just personal?
I
What do
think
you
they feel like it means an influencer. I think they think that it also means being kind of fake. You know, like some influencers have gotten to be where it's like you only do something or you only act a certain way because someone's paying you to do it, right? You're only rocking that jaunty hat or whatever. Because it's hashtag sponsored. But when it comes down to it, your personal brand is really just the version of you that lives in people's heads. And that exists no matter what. Everyone has a personal brand. It's just, do you own it or not? Do you control what it is or not? That's what really makes the difference about a personal brand.
You are your brand. You've been your brand, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, you have an incredible brand story. Mm-hmm. You know, why don't you like tell that so people can understand how they can use their story?
I honestly was one of those people that didn't understand what personal brand was, because I started out as a publicist. And when you're a publicist, you're kind of behind the brands.
True.
You know, it's not about you. For me at that time at all. It was not about me at all. It was about my clients. So I hid behind. And then one day, one of my clients said, Chantel, people, you're amazing. People need to know who you are. You got to step out and do your thing. And that was the best thing that he could have ever said to me, because he's absolutely right. It's like you have to really step up into your own and understand your uniqueness and what you have to give to the world.
Oh, it's all about the uniqueness. You know, it pains me. I had this conversation with this woman who jumped ship. You know, she quit her job. She's doing her thing. And we were looking at her website, and she flat out was just like, this is the industry standard. This is what everybody is doing. And I was just like, well, then why don't you want to do something different? And it's fear of judgment. And they don't want to come across fake or anything. I'm like, it's not fake, it's perception.
Well, it's also this outdated notion of what it means to be professional, right?
Yes.
Because we're all taught the things that are professional are the things that are the same as everybody else. It's fitting into the mold. It's doing the industry standard. And the first things you need to throw away when you decide to step into your personal brand and to own your spotlight is the things that you feel the need to hide or tamp down in order to fit in are the exact things that you need to rock out in order to stand out.
It's all about personality.
Yeah.
Again, this hair, I've got hair envy. Y'all know I change my hair all the time, and I haven't rocked red in a minute. And
it's so funny that you're saying this, because I was just the other day being like, you know, I might be over the red. It might be time to go back to full on brown. But now, I mean,
it's hard. It's really, really hard. But you know what? Do you? And that's the thing. Like, that's what makes you unique, is the fact that you can say to yourself, my brand is evolving.
Yeah.
Because I'm evolving. Mm-hmm. You know, and I remember when the very first time that I branded myself, I was 9 years old. I was going to a new school. I was the Black girl in school for the most part. And although the chocolate, I love it, I embrace it, it keeps me strong, but it was a survival method, you know what I mean? And so instead of being the Black girl in school, I decided to take on other characteristics that stood out more. And I just played on those. I wore 2 different colored socks, which is crazy. And I did that for 2 years. Yeah.
Seth Godin does that sometimes. And he's a master of his personal brand.
It's fun to do that, right?
You know? Stoicism. That's what it's called. It's when you put yourself in a situation where people are either going to talk about you or judge you, or it's unique or it stands out, and it prepares you for real criticism.
Yeah.
You know? And so I learned to brand myself. And since then, 20 years of sales, I just totally learned how to just own it. Yeah. Own whatever it is. So now we've discussed, you know, that a personal brand, it's you. Yeah. It's you.
I agree.
But now who needs one?
Who doesn't need one? Everyone has one. That is the thing. Everybody has one. It's just, do you own it? Do you control what it is? Because otherwise you're letting other people define you. You're letting other people's perceptions of you define you. And that's kind of how the world works to some degree. Your opportunities, your, you know, potential is to some degree controlled by other people's perceptions of you. So the more you can say, you know what, I'm going to take this narrative and I'm going to write it. Period. That is what personal branding is. It's recognizing you're a character in the story anyway. Who's telling the story?
Right. Be the hero. You might as well be.
Yeah.
You know, like so you said that you didn't even realize what personal branding was. And then you transitioned to understanding it and leveraging it. What did that teach you? Like how did you know that personal branding was important for you? What was that moment?
It taught me how important it is to answer to my calling and my purpose, because my calling and my purpose is what changes other people's lives. And if I'm not living out and trying to reach that fullest potential, then I'm denying the world my gift.
And you're also not helping people identify you when you can stay in your lane. You know, people can say, oh, that's Sharon Tell, and this is what she does. This is who she is. And that consistency is the key to anything, to working out, to reading, to education, to content.
Yes.
To your brand.
Two things I want to say to that. Sharon Tell, what you said, I just gave a talk this morning, actually, before I got in the car into Connecticut about personal branding. And it was to a British audience. They're a lot more reticent to talk about themselves. And I said, it is selfish not to, because you are hiding yourself from the people who need you. People need to be able to find you so you can help them.
Yes.
You cannot help them if they cannot find you. And to your point about consistency, people need a certain number of brand touches, they say. It's not an actual number, but the fact is, in order to really cement yourself in someone's head, they need to be exposed to you a certain number of times. And if you're consistent and they know they've seen you before and you're recognizable, then those brand touches can compound. But the fact is, if someone doesn't know they've seen you before, if you're not recognizable, if you're not consistent, you know, it's one touch here, one touch here, one touch here. That's not three. That's one. And then that's one starting from scratch. And then that's one starting from scratch. Some people don't need as many brand touches. We had one brand touch, Angie, before I was like, I need to know this lady. Like you were in the comment thread of a show that I was on. And I could tell just by the value you were bringing to the table, oh, this is my kind of person. And then I clicked on your LinkedIn and I saw what you were all about. And I said, okay,
synergy,
you know, sold, completely sold. This is my kind of person. But some people, you know, there's millions of people trying to grab every individual's attention. So in order to break through, you need to be memorable, you need to stand out, you need to bring value, and you need to be able to do yourself the favor of being findable and letting those brand touches compound.
Oh my gosh. And this leads right into the next conversation, because in order to do all of that, step one, discover your why.
Yes.
Oh, that's so important.
People will call me, and I'm sure they'll call you. I'm sure they'll call you asking for tips, help. And it's something like, oh, should I do this or should I do that? And I'm like, we need to start from the beginning. I'm not a personal brand tipper. I'm a personal brand strategist.
Yes.
Like, I'm not giving out tips, you know? And so we really need to get people to discover their why, because that is step one. So how did you discover your why? How did you do that?
Well, you know, my head is always in space. Literally.
It's literally.
Yes. My head is always in space. So I'm always thinking, like, how far could I possibly go? You know, so my thing is that there always has to be some sort of mission. And that's where you know, every time I wake up, I got some sort of mission to complete. And that's how I look at my why. My mission is that I want to inspire men, women, and children, you know, to live beyond their means, step into their greatness, like, you know, live your dreams, believe your dreams can be possible. And with that mission, that keeps me going forward. You got to create a mission.
And you as a storyteller, you know, because that's what it's all about, is the mission. So let's hypothetically say they've got their mission. They know they've done all these incredible things, or they have, you know, cancer survivor. I just spoke to a woman whose child died at 6 years old, whose other child is disabled, whose husband lost his entire bottom half to
this is all happening to the same woman?
Like palsy or something. Yes.
Oh.
And we were on the phone, and she had the greatest attitude and mindset. And so she was able to take that mission, but turn it into the story. So Queen of Story, how do we take that? How do we take our mission and create a story out of it?
Well, one thing I need to point out is that when you talked about your mission, it wasn't about your job function.
Yeah.
That is something that you can take with you to whatever you do. So that is really key, tying your mission to who you are and having it come from within you. You can't work the opposite way. You can't say, here's the job function I want to do. Here's the thing I want to be known for. Now, why can I sort of backfill there to make it sound noble? No, it needs to start from something within you that you believe in.
Yes.
And what you do, your job function, your thing that you want to be known for, that is the vehicle. That is the vehicle to accomplish your mission. And that means that your personal brand is portable too. It means that if you decide you want to do something else someday, if you want to change careers, if you want to work with a different clientele, if you want to do a different function, let's say something like social media, which didn't exist when I started working, shows up in the world. Right. You can transfer to anything you want. And people will trust you if, first of all, they know you because you have a personal brand and you're known. But second of all, they'll be able to trust you in a different field. They'll follow you. Their trust will follow you to something else as long as your core is the same, because then it won't feel like a hard left turn. It'll feel like, okay, well, that's a natural evolution of that person as a person.
Absolutely. And and I think people too, because it's, we've all evolved into it and it's taken years. And sometimes it's overwhelming for a lot of people to sit down and feel vulnerable and write that all out. And sometimes what I started with, I have 3 core values, and it's to empower, inspire, and entertain. That's been my entire life. You know what I mean? And with those 3 core values that I carry with me, I base everything off of that, and down to my work ethic, down to my vision. And sometimes it's just about identifying that. If we look at people like Elon Musk, to your point, he has his hands in a lot of different things, but it's still his brand. And one of his values is clearly innovation.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so he sticks with that. And he's, I don't think, he's influential, but we can easily define more values for Elon: innovation, experimentation, like he's just known for that. And he's real, he's authentic. He comes out with he's a complete risk taker. Yeah. So those might be the values that he lives by. And if you find your values, sometimes that will help you to tell your story a little bit, or it's less it just takes the pressure off of trying to write, and get deep with your story. So love that. I mean, you are just spot on and so articulate. Guys, I do not mess around. These people, look at this power. Look at this power. Because when you align, isn't it all about alignment? And the other thing too is part of your story is the people that you bring into it and you associate with your brand. My brand is full of powerful women with something to say, leading in their industries, and who are just daring to be different, daring to be influential. So I love where we're going with this. We're touching on the story. What are the ingredients of a good story? You know what I mean? Like you've come up with your value system. Like, what are the ingredients of telling a good story? Like, I always love, I'm drama, y'all. I love to come out the gate with something that shocks people, that's super, super memorable. Like my whole story is September 4th, 1984. I died not once, but twice within the first 24 hours I was born. Woo. Like, that is right. Twice, baby.
My goodness.
Thank you, Jesus. I'm here. Big part of my purpose, and amen. Thank you. Thank you. Amen to that.
It should be a bare minimum that the people around you want you to be alive. Just saying.
Bare minimum. We would think so, but that's not always the case.
Check your circle. Check your circle. So what are the ingredients? You know, I love drama in a story. What other things that are part of making a great story for your brand?
Definitely your energy. What kind of energy you bring to the table. And I don't just mean high energy or low energy. I mean, you mentioned you bring drama. That's a specific type of energy. I bring what I call the rah-rah. I bring like a
spirit hands.
Spirit hands, cheerleading energy. I was not a cheerleader, but you know what I mean? Like I'm your personal cheerleader, you know? And, you know, some people, they bring more of a serious sort of, and some people respond better to that. Some people respond better to, they feel like they can trust someone who's a little more serious, someone who's a little more traditionally professional. That's what some people need because they need that feeling of safety and that feeling of the known. So your energy, whatever it is, it's not just high or low. There's a million directions energy can go. And just making sure that you are aware of the energy that you want to bring with you into whatever you do and the energy that you want to impress upon other people.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
I mean,
I say all of those ingredients,
and
right?
Pepper, add some
all of those, all of those, and don't forget you in the process of those ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
You.
People lose themselves.
All of that that she said. I want to bake that cake right now.
Here's the thing. It's already baked. That's the thing. It's already baked. It's about discovering what is there.
It's done, honey.
Yeah. It's about discovering what's already there. Not about inventing something, not about creating something. It's about taking what is there and letting it bloom.
I love it.
I love it.
I love it. As a quick reminder, you guys, you already know you're listening to the Be Influential podcast, and we are live here at the Downtime Production Studio.
Shout out
here
to Downtime.
in Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Shout out to Downtime.
Magic Main Mike,
TV.
the executive producer.
He's like, don't forget that part. TV.
Renee, the baddest intern in the world.
Did she just graduate?
Soon, couple weeks.
Soon to be.
Yeah, like
it's already
done.
Yeah, it's already done. 30 days. Oh my
Killing
goodness.
And you are empowering this young woman with real life work experience.
Listen,
that's very on brand for you.
But that's you know, more when men recognize that women can, there's not a lot of women in media, you know what I mean? And some companies keep it that way. Mike stepped out and said, this chick works. I don't care. Like she's, you know, and big shout out to Tony in the background, the funniest guy at DTV. I love it. So big shout out to the team who's pulling a couple of extra minutes with us today. So thank you. Thank you.
You're appreciated.
Couldn't be influential without you guys. So next we want to help them find their platform. That's tough. Isn't that a popular question?
Yes.
Everybody. Now, Chantel has found her platform. Can you talk a little bit about?
I love that you're a social media strategist. This is absolutely amazing. I'm so happy. The way I found my platform is just doing it and figuring it out as I go and what doesn't work and how I can make it better. That's it for me. As we can see, I mean, Facebook don't work for me.
I know.
Right? But I'm going to keep pushing and figuring it out, I guess. But I love Instagram and I love Twitter. And
I'm not on Twitter. All of them. TikTok. I'm on TikTok.
I was going to say, I could see you on TikTok.
I am on.
I can see you on TikTok.
You got big TikTok energy.
I am reckless on TikTok.
That's the only way to be on TikTok.
I need to start strategizing TikTok. Where should people start with the platforms? How many should they have? Like, what are their rules to the game? Because I'm on all of them. I'm on all of them.
Well, one big thing is people always say the conventional wisdom is be where your audience is, the people you want to reach. And that's true, but almost more important than that is be where you are going to show up. Where are you going to shine? What content are you going to not hate creating? What platform are you going to not groan every time you have to sign into, because I have some clients who are now starting to say, I don't want to be on Facebook. And depending on what they do, some of them,
It's me.
some of them, they still need to be found. They need to be findable on Facebook, but we work a strategy so that their Facebook page does a lot of the passive work for them and directs them to where they actually want people to find them. And it can always shift. I used to say, if you would ask me a year or two ago, I would have said, I want my number one platform to be Facebook. And I actually resented that Twitter was taking off a lot more because I didn't enjoy it as much. And then last year I leaned into it. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Why am I rejecting something that's working and trying so hard at something that's not? And I'm still on Facebook, and I love Instagram, and I love LinkedIn, all of that. But I realized Twitter was where I was getting traction. Twitter was where people wanted to hear from me. So I leaned into Twitter. I started a Twitter chat. I really took building my network on Twitter more seriously. And it has changed everything for me to just look at what's working and switch. But you don't have to be on Twitter is the point. If that's not what brings you joy, if that's not what lights you up, you're not going to show up as your best.
That's so true.
It's so true. And you know what? And I think that's why I personally like IG. I don't think it is my strongest platform, but what I love about it are all the different ways that I can create content.
Oh,
and I'm a producer. Like that's
so
what, you know,
I
and
love
so
Instagram.
it just gives me so much space to try things and be creative. And
what do you love the most doing on there? Video?
I literally, I like it all because I like the reels. I love IGTV. I love just kind of, now I show up almost like a diary and just like, I'm going live. Like I don't plan it. I just go live and then it downloads. And if people want to find it, they'll find it. And Instagram loves that. Instagram loves when you use their platform. So I think Instagram just happens to be the most versatile out of all of them. And I'm gonna stick with it for a little bit, and use other platforms to,
I love Instagram,
to send
It's
people.
so much fun.
She like tripled her following on Instagram.
I think it depends.
That's why she likes it.
I think it depends on what's going on at that moment, because Twitter used to be my favorite. Like I would spend hours, like literally like 21, 22 hours on Twitter. I was going to Twitter jail. Like that's how much time
I've been in Twitter jail.
If you look at my tweets, I have over 100,000 tweets, and those are by my hand. Like I love Twitter, but now I love Instagram, and I'm on there every single week.
You can love it all. It is different sides of yourself.
It depends, right? But I don't put that much energy into Twitter anymore. I put all of the energy into Instagram because Instagram is so much fun to me right now.
You have an addictive personality.
Yes, exactly.
Don't go to Clubhouse if that's the case, because people are like losing days of their lives.
You're talking to the wrong crew.
Okay,
sorry.
I missed our mastermind meeting because I was on Clubhouse all night.
Yep. That's how it goes.
I couldn't get up. I had to go to sleep. I was like, oh my God, I've been up for 48 hours. What am I doing?
I know some people losing sleep because of Clubhouse, because the FOMO, it's all about the FOMO, the fear of missing out. Because if you're not there in the room for that conversation, it's gone.
I have no FOMO. I have no FOMO.
She's like, I'm like, you know I'm
in enough conversations.
I love
a
bit. I don't know. I've taken a break though. These past 2 weeks I've been off.
That's because it's on the downswing. Just letting y'all know, you know, if we're talking about maybe some platforms to stay away from, you know, Clubhouse, you can't download anything. Your conversations don't save. If they don't stick around, neither do your followers.
And they don't have, and they're not working for Android yet. Twitter Spaces is starting to take over the audio space because you can join or host on an Android now. They are starting to allow recording, which they're working on that. The team is really actively in Spaces right now, talking to people who are using it about what they would like to see get better. So I think that's where it's going to be. Plus, you don't have to move your followers. If you have a Twitter following and you build a reputation for Spaces, they're in the same place. You're absolutely right about Clubhouse followers. You need to move them to an additional platform. Every time I've been in a Clubhouse room, I've gone and like clicked over, because you can multitask.
That's true.
You can click out the app. I add people on Twitter and LinkedIn and try to connect with them. I have a client who's killing it on Clubhouse. And I'm like, you need to recognize that being connected to all these amazing people on Clubhouse means nothing if they don't know what you do, if they don't know how they can hire you or how they can hook you up with someone who can hire you, and if they're not following you in other places. She's a visual artist. She needs people to be seeing things.
Yes.
So I'm like, it's very exciting to get into those conversations with those amazing people we don't always have access to because they're making themselves very accessible on Clubhouse. But if you do not move those connections to additional places, like with any social media platform, you are building on rented land. You need to get them to your mailing list, get them to your website, get them to connect with you in places people can't take away from you.
That's very true.
Building on rented land.
Yeah, I didn't make that up. That's a thing.
Because I always say, like, social real estate.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
is.
It's so it just makes so much sense that you're renting space. Y'all, I need to write that down. Yo, I get so many breakthroughs on this show. I think it's so amazing. Like, right? Okay, so we've told our story. We found the platform that we want to be on. Now we need to create the content, which is the most
part.
Is it exhausting? Is it fun? Is it like, what is creating content for you like?
Okay. Well, in the beginning, it was other people, so it was easy. You know what I mean?
What's
like, it's
she
already,
doing? Okay, that.
Yeah, that is, this album is coming out. This video is being released. It was easy. But then now we're talking about my personal brand, and I'm like, okay, what is the niche that I want to be known for? What is it that I want them to see? What is it that I don't want them to see? What is it that I want to give to them? It's so many questions that pop up in my mind. Now it is about going around the fearless brand, the live beyond fear. It is about moving more away from the music publicist side to moving more into my writing and speaking.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love
it. But
it.
taking them along with them taking them along with me, but not losing them because my content is all over the place.
And books, IG, podcasts, books. More books. So crazy. What are some of your favorite content creating strategies? Do you have any tips, any apps? Like, what are you using?
Yes, I can't wait.
Well, what I do for myself and what's working for me is not necessarily what I tell my clients to do, but what I tell my clients to do, oftentimes they're people who are a little less swimming in social media all the time. This isn't fun for them like it is for some people.
Right. Yeah.
So I tell them to find a type of content that they can sort of like batch create, like quotes or frequently asked questions or, things like that. And I tell them, I get that you don't want to be touching this all the time. You don't want this to be on your mind all the time. So find some things where you can dedicate a few hours every month or every couple weeks. Just batch out a bunch of stuff, schedule it, but for myself, that does not work for me because I like being very connected to my social. Well, I mean, authenticity, you get out what you put in. So if you put in something authentic, even if you're batch creating it, even if it's templated, if it's authentic to begin with, it's going to be fine. Yeah. But my content, I need to be more immediate feeling, and I do have tools that help me with that. For my live streaming, I've stepped it up by using Ecamm and Restream. I love those programs. I make a ton of graphics with Canva, though I'm starting to start playing with Easel, which is very similar. EASIL. That's a great program to use to make graphics because, I design it once, but I know I'm going to need it for, every week's show or whatever. And it's so easy to just have it look consistent and beautiful. But, I can customize it all the time. So there's a lot of things that help me out with that. But when it comes down to it, I think what most people need to realize about content is, first of all, the type of content you don't hate making is always the type of content to make. I love live video because you just do it.
And it just downloads.
Show up, sound smart, you're done.
Yeah.
So I love that, but a lot of people don't. If they hate it,
I love it.
Telling them to do live video is not going to be good because they're going to be looking like someone has a gun to their head. Like it's a bad live video, someone who's terrified. Let them write. the type of content that you don't hate creating is going to be the best for you. And I've also discovered that I've started making a lot less content, and people think I'm making much more because they're seeing it. So less content that is stronger is going to do so much better than just kind of scattering stuff all over that you posted because you felt like you had to post something. That's never going to do as well. People totally think I'm creating so much more than I was before, and I'm creating so much less.
Oh my God.
They're just
Tell us the
seeing
secrets.
They're just seeing it more, and because it has a message. Once I honed in on personal branding, started my Twitter chat, started my live stream. I'm guesting all over the place on people's stuff because they know what to ask me to talk about now. Yes. So it really is just find what you love and let it. I don't believe in being too planny with it either. I just I like being consistent, but I also, I kind of let it flow. I trust myself to know what I'm doing, to know what I'm talking about, and try to just put it out there. And if it flops, fine. Next thing. One thing about content I do need to say, though, I have to say this. Engaging matters so much more than content. People stress over what to post. Post less than you engage. The conversations you're having with people around your content, around their content, around other people's content, that is going to do so much more for you than anything you post. Put your time and energy and, stress, if you've got it, on that. How am I going to engage more? How am I going to have more
social
conversations?
Currency. Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with Canva. Canva is such a powerful website and app. The app sucks. I lied.
The app is terrible.
But the Canva website is incredible. I'm going to have to check out Easel. How do you spell it again?
EASIL.
Oh, okay. And I would absolutely say too, have you ever heard of the app InShot? InShot? Okay. Yep. So I use InShot, and I completely agree with you. It's more about the quality of the content, having a message with your content. And I've just started a weekly vlog. So every time I'm out doing something that I can remember, I will whip out my phone. I will record myself walking to the gas station. You know what I mean? I just get my everyday life, and then I turn it into a weekly vlog, and it's turning out cute. You know what I mean? Cool. It's a behind the scenes, it's content, and it's your life. And when it comes to engagement, you will get more engagement being authentic like that than the pre-planned stuff a lot of the times, and sometimes I will do a whole face, taking an hour to do my makeup. I sit 5 views. I'm like, no, Jesus. I don't look like this for 5 views. You know what I mean? It takes a lot of time and effort and editing. So, I just say keep going, get every moment. We always take, me and Christine were out. As soon as we pulled in, we connected. We're selfies in front of the elephant, in front of the graffiti,
with the hair whipping our wind, with the wind whipping our hair in our faces.
Fabulous. And it turned out really fun and funky. And you roll with it, make it a part. Right. Of course you.
And I know she knows I'm on the phone.
That's what I love about meeting up with other social media people. It's of course there's going to be a selfie moment. What? We're getting coffee? Of course we need to do the flat lay with the croissant, They just get it.
Have to.
Don't take the sip yet. I need that froth.
I love it. All right. So we're coming close to the end, and we will be doing the giveaway and announcing who is going to get that prize. Renee, can you do me a favor? In my bag is a little bag with all of the names on it. So quickly, the last topic, we kind of touched on it, but I just want to go, that one. Go in. How do we stay consistent? So we talked about creating the content. How do we stay consistent in creating our content? Chantal, how do you stay consistent? You're constantly on IG. I'm like, oh my God.
I know, but when I first started my the IGTV series, I had this notion. I put the press release out and I said I'm going to be done by December last year. And the way that I stayed consistent was the feedback that I got from my audience, to know that it's changing so many people's lives, and people are tuned in like they're watching Netflix, because it's for an hour. It's an hour, 2 days out of the week, sometimes 3. And I just like, wow. And to stay consistent is just a part of being an entrepreneur. That's just what you do. That's a part of the skills, the talent of being an entrepreneur. So always stay consistent, because if you want to see anything evolve, anything grow, you have to stay consistent.
You have to. And what are some of the ways that you try and stay consistent in your game plan?
Find something you love. Find something you enjoy.
Right, exactly.
And find something that has legs.
Yeah.
Like legs.
I got a couple.
But I mean, I had a show for years called Social, and I love interviewing people. I love hearing their stories, and I love live video. So it worked. But then I started thinking that I wanted to do a different show that was a little more focused. And that was when I was focusing my brand more towards being about personal branding. And I thought, well, can I really do that? Like, if it's that niche, will I run out of interesting guests? Will I run out of interesting topics? And so I just wrote a list. You know, I was like, let's just brainstorm, dump it all out. What angles can I think of? What people can I think of who can speak to those angles? And the list was huge. I said, okay, this has legs. This is a topic I'm endlessly fascinated by diving into. It has enough consistency because people know where to tune in and when and how, and it looks the same. But it has difference, endless variety, because if you've seen one episode, you have not seen them all. So I think that's it, and I love it. So something that's fun and something that can evolve and change with you, but at the same time has that consistency of some sort of, you know, center to it, where people know that they've seen this before from you. They know that it is from you, and they want to come back for more.
And I absolutely love that. And I'm going to add to that too, because the way to, so she evolved from one kind of idea to the next. You guys, do not be afraid to just end something and start something new. I think there's like this phobia of, you know, people, it is what it is. Go ahead and jump. Take the jump. You can
quit whatever you want.
Yeah, and start all over again. It really doesn't matter as long as you're aligned. So one of the strategies that I say, I found this out by one of these girls on Clubhouse, and it's incredible. What you do is when you're recording, you want to, sometimes you have the bars on you want to put yourself right in the middle. So your head is kind of small and there's a lot of head space above you. And that position up and down, you can then send that to Reels, but also then cut it vertically for YouTube. And it still sits you right in the right place. And, you know, that really helps with consistency when you don't have to keep remaking the material, and you just take what you've got and roll with it. So that has been a huge strategy that I've come across. And let's get into it. It is giveaway time. Look at this plastic bag. I didn't have a hat.
I don't have anything in my mug, so you can pull it out of my Christine Gritman mug.
So fancy. I actually have water in my mug.
Everything is black in my brand.
It is.
It really is. Like my t-shirts are black. My hoodies are black. She's red all over.
I love it.
In the hair.
I'm a rainbow.
Well, you know, they say a newspaper. They say a newspaper is what's black and white and red all over, and you got a newspaper shirt on.
Yeah.
You are on the right show.
Listen, I don't even try, right?
I'm such a fashionista.
Dun, 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 dun.
Ooh, I get to pick it.
Dun, 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 dun.
All right.
Giveaway.
Want to read it or am I reading
You're
it?
going to be the one. All right, y'all.
All right. D. Lynn.
Oh, D. Lynn. I saw it. All right.
Oh, my
gosh. I know. It's D. We are so excited. I think she was going to try and tap in today, which is super awesome. I checked out her website, her Instagram, and it's popping. Right? Yeah. So I think this is going to be so much fun. And we're definitely going to tap into D. Lynn. You're going to get a digital card and a virtual one-on-one live branding session with me and Sharontel. It's going to be fire. So real quick, guys, let's just do some takeaways. All right, Christine, you are going to go first. Can you put up the digital card, Tony? Hers is the red one.
Ooh. Of course,
you
mine's
guys,
the red one.
we are going to sign off in just a moment. And yes, this is Christine's digital card. Yes, she got one for being a guest. Hold your phone right up to the screen. Make sure that it's on photo, and you don't even have to snap a picture. The website will pull right on up, and you will be able to check out your girl. This is fire. All right. So what are your final takeaways?
My final takeaway, besides I'm so glad we connected. My goodness.
Me too.
Is you just have to, instead of worrying so much about what your brand is going to be and what other people want, just be the youest you can possibly be, and other people will connect to that.
Agreed.
And if they don't, it's their loss.
It is your loss. All right. So, girl, what is your takeaway? Sharon tells digital card.
Oh, do I got one too?
Yes, you got one too, boo.
Oh my goodness, it's exciting.
That one.
And I'm gonna come over there.
Yeah, check out Sharon tells digital card.
That's why she's the social media branding strategist.
Listen, I'm putting everybody on.
Yes. My biggest takeaway today is consistency.
Yes, huge.
Yes.
How are you going to become more consistent after this show? Because we are bettering ourselves as well.
We are, because I want to start putting out my reels. So I'm going to stay consistent with that. And for me, what's working for me is that I've already created about 10. Okay. So I'm going to do like 15 more. And then that whole entire month, I don't even have to, all I have to do is just press that button. Let it go.
There we go.
So thank you for that pointer, because I already made the plan in my head.
Automatic. I love it. You guys are so
killer.
Thank you,
Christine. I'm so excited.
For me, my last takeaway is that I think it's so important to collaborate. We didn't really talk about it, but when you're building your personal brand strategy, you are not my competition. You are not my competition. We are all family. We do so many of the similar things, but we're also so different. Unless we were twins doing the same exact thing, it is imperative that we collaborate, come together, and make content together so that we can provide really, really sick information for everybody. So, you guys are all experts in your own fields, and it's time you let everybody know that. So stand up straight, stick your chest out, and get your ass out there. All right, you guys, this has been the Be Influential podcast. Stay tuned for Be Influential podcast behind the scenes, where I take you and interview the guys and gals who are responsible for running the show every Friday. Okay, you guys, have a great weekend, and check us back at 11 a.m. every Friday here at the Be Influential podcast. Ciao. Yeah. Thanks so much for tapping into the Be Influential podcast, where we dare you to be different. I'm your host, Angie Legg, and you can catch me and my co-host, Sharon Durskell, every Friday live at 11 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Clubhouse. And a big shout out to my sponsor, 10K Cards, the modern business card. Scan the QR code and get yours today.